Unfortunately, it is that time again. That's right, time for another episode of Page Bait, the show where I read and react to the most popular books that I know nothing about. Now, before we dive into today's book, I need to address the evil duck in the room, and that evil duck is Evil Duck 3710, who left a comment on one of my videos and asked if I'm going to be reading any more of the Ilona Andrews books that I covered on this series. And the answer is yes. Yes, they are on my Libby waitlist, but the problem is I'm like 127 in line. So sooner or later I will get my hands on those books and I will finish reading them and then I will be able to give you my opinion on them in their entirety. Somehow, by some miracle, I was actually able to get a hold of a copy of Brandon Sanderson's Tress, which I reviewed last week. And I am absolutely loving that. Several chapters in, it does not disappoint. So, Ilona Andrews, I will be back for you, if Libby ever allows it. All right, enough of that. Time to dive into today's book, which has been recommended to me by a number of people, and based on the cover, looks like something I am going to love. This author, people have told me, is very funny, and I like that. I like funny. I don't like them dark and grisly books that take themselves too seriously. Those are not my type of a thing. All right, let's go to chapter one. A cat flying into a tree. The transformation occurred at approximately 2:23 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. As far as I could tell, anyone who was indoors when it happened died instantly. Okay, we're off to an excellent start. If you had any sort of roof over you, you were dead. That included people in cars, airplanes, subways, even tents and cardboard boxes. Hell, probably umbrellas too, though I'm not so sure about that one. I'm not gonna lie, you guys who are inside, probably warm and asleep and dreaming about some random bullshit, I'm jealous. You're the lucky ones. You were just gone, splattered into dust during the transformation. This is phenomenal. Two paragraphs in, and this is phenomenal. It was a Tuesday, and the calendar had just ticked over to January 3rd. A terrible winter storm had descended on North America, and half the country was buried in snow and ice. In Seattle, oh, I used to live in Seattle. I'm connected with this now. We didn't have too much snow that night, but it was well below zero, which was unusually cold even for January. I'm sure in other parts of the world where it is warmer and not in the middle of the night, many more people survived. Many more. Yeah, if temperature drops below zero in Seattle, just like everything shuts down. They don't know what to do there. I also bet most of them were probably wearing more clothes than I was at the time of the incident, and those assholes were smart enough not to go into the light. Me, I didn't have a choice. Like I said, it was below freezing, I was outside, and I was wearing boxers, a leather jacket, and a pair of pink Croc sandals that barely fit me. I was also holding a crying, scratching, squirming, and spitting cat named Princess Donut the Queen Anne and Chonk. I really hope that because of this book, the popularity of cats named Princess Donut the Queen Anne Chonk just goes up. Like I want to see that name on like veterinary registers everywhere. She was a tortoiseshell Persian cat, worth more than I made in a year. My ex-girlfriend called her Princess Donut for short. I just stuck with Donut. So let me back up about 10 minutes. Thank you very much. I won't bore you with too much backstory, but some of these details may be important. My name is Carl. Of course, his name is Carl. So now I'm just thinking of llamas with hats. Carl, that kills people. I am 27 years old. After a stint with the U.S. Coast Guard, I ended up working as a marine tech fixing electrical systems for rich assholes and their party boats. I, up until a few days before this started, lived with my girlfriend in our apartment in Seattle. Her name was Beatrice, B. She went to the Bahamas for a New Year's thing with a bunch of friends. She didn't tell me her ex-boyfriend went along with her on the trip. I figured it out pretty quickly when I saw a picture of her sitting on his lap on Instagram. Oh my. I don't like drama. I don't know, Carl. I think you kind of do like drama, just based entirely on the opening of this book. I think you like drama just a little bit. And I don't deal well with it. Whether she was actually cheating on me or not, it didn't matter so much. Dude, she's cheating on you. She lied, so I called her up and told her we were done. I promised I'd have all her stuff ready for her to go when she got back. No drama, no fuss. But we were done. Come on, Carl. There's gonna be drama. There's gonna be more drama. She'd asked her parents to come get her cat, but they lived on the other side of the Cascades and nobody was getting through any of the passes with this weather, so I promised I'd look after her until Beatrice got back. And then you're gonna get full custody of this cat by the end of this book. I just know it. So let me tell you about Donut the cat. Like I said, she was one of those fluffy, flat-faced cats that look like they need to be sitting on the lap of a Bond villain. B and I shared a two-bedroom apartment, and one of those rooms was dedicated to the cat. If that tells you anything. More specifically, the room was devoted to Donut's best in show ribbons, her best in breed ribbons, and the countless trophies and framed photographs of her sitting on a table looking at all the fuzzy and pissed off while B and a judge stood behind her. Poor show cats. Cats just want to go. They want to catch mice and stuff. I can't imagine being a show cat. To be so sad. B probably had 50 of the pictures. She'd won a mess of ribbons and trophies and photographs pretty much every time Beatrice took Donut to an event. And Bea took that damn cat to a show almost every weekend. Her whole family was into raising and showing Persian cats. Me, I didn't really know much about the whole cat show world. I didn't want to get too involved. Like I said, I don't do drama. You keep saying that, Carl. Carl, you keep saying that. And let me tell you something about cat people. More specifically, cat show people. Actually, never mind. I can't say that naughty word. All the other naughty words I'll take my chances with on YouTube's, but that one is the big one, the queen mother of all dirty words. Fudge those guys. All that's important is Bee and Donut were part of this whole world I didn't want anything to do with. I never considered myself a big fan of cats, but you will be, Carl. You will be by the end of this book. But if we're being truthful here, I like Donut. There you go. That cat did not give two shits about anybody or anything, and I could respect that. So, so like Donut, you keep saying you don't like drama, but you secretly do. That's just every cat that I've ever met. So Carl is a cat, and that's why he finds the existence of another cat a little bit annoying. If I tried to pick her up, she hissed and scratched and jumped right back up there. And when she looked at me with a squished face that said, "What you gonna do about it?" I'd been tempted more than once to throttle the thing, but I'm not an asshole. Maybe a little bit, Carl, just a little bit. Plus, I could respect the little monster's tendency. Some of my buddies would give me crap about it, me spending all this time with a fuzzy cat that was probably worth more than I would make in a year, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed having that ball of fuzz sitting in my lap. One of Beatrice's ironclad, this is not negotiable rules was no smoking in the apartment. So after our fight and breakup, I'd made a point of smoking as much as I could. I know, immature, but it was freezing outside. Donut seemed to like the smoke too much, and the smell clung to her hair. So as a compromise, I would crack the window when I smoked. So when I woke up about 2 a.m., having been startled awake by a dream, I decided I needed a smoke. I pulled out my pack, cracked the window, and lit a cigarette. Donut, who had been sleeping right next to me in bed, decided at that very moment that she wanted to, for the first time in her feline life, go outside and explore. She jumped up on my shoulder and she leapt out the second-story window into the tree outside my apartment. Just like that, I'd had the window open dozens of times over the past year, and she'd never even given the window a second glance. But tonight, on the coldest night of the year, the furry asshole decided to Lewis and Clark her way out of the apartment. Yeah, that's a 100% a cat move. The Matt, you know cats. You've had a couple cats in your life, I think. She scampered down the tree, sniffed at the sidewalk a few times, and then promptly realized it was cold as fudge. Her adventures were over as quickly as it began. She rushed back up the tree and stared at me over the 5 feet from the window to the branch. The adventure all drained out of her. It's like my orange boy, my orange cat. He always wants to go out and have adventures, and then he realizes that outside is very scary, and he comes back in like 5 minutes, meowing for love. Donut decided not to risk jumping back inside, so instead she decided to start howling at the top of her lungs. I spent the next several minutes cursing at the cat, trying to coax her back inside. I opened the window all the way, sending gales of ice cold air in the previously toasty apartment. The fuzzy black and beige and white cat just sat there bitching and howling so much I feared one of my neighbors might wake up and shoot her. I'd left my boots in the dryer all the way in the building's basement. I didn't know where the hell my running shoes were, so in a momentary decision I would quickly come to regret, I squeezed my feet into a pair of my ex-girlfriend's Crocs. Oh, pulled a heavy leather jacket on and rushed outside to grab the cat. A part of me kept saying, "Screw it, it's not your cat. Let the little fudger freeze." Like I said, I'm not that much of an asshole. As much as Beatrice deserved it, I loved that damned cat. And poor stupid Donut wouldn't stand a chance out here in the cold. Not for long. Plus, again, the cat was right there, howling like someone was eating her children in front of her. I rushed down the stairs and jumped outside, rushing to a tree that sat between the sidewalk and the building. I immediately regretted not taking the time to put proper clothes on. The cold, windy air sunk its claws into my legs and feet. Donut was right there, sitting on a tree, just out of reach, looking between me and the open window into the apartment. She continued to howl, a light popping on in an apartment on the first floor. I groaned. "Mrs. Parsons, grumpy. I like to file complaints, Mrs. Parsons." "Donut," I said. "Come on, you little shit." I held out my arms. The cat could jump into my arms. It was something I trained her to do. I could shake a bag of cat treats and she'd jump right up there. I could make a sound and she'd sometimes jump up on my shoulder. I cursed myself for not bringing cat treats out with me. Okay, no complaints. No complaints. I freaking love this. This is going on my Libby list. People who recommended this book to me, you know me. You are good friends. I will give you a trophy or buy you a coffee because this is 100% right up my alley based on these first 3 pages. Now that that's done, if you liked this episode, well, I'm kind of shocked, but go ahead and like and subscribe to somebody else's YouTube channel because this one sucks. And if you think of any other books that you would like to recommend to me because you know me so well, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. And assuming I know nothing about them, I will read the first 3 pages on this show, and you will get to see my live reaction for what it's worth. Until next time, happy reading.